problem is not proving that UFOs exist. It's when you begin to expose the energy and propulsion systems behind how they're getting here.
Dr. Greer's documentary Serius premiered in Hollywood on the 22nd of April, and is now available on the Ekra video platform. I've had the pleasure of viewing the documentary, which covers UFO, extraterrestrials, and advanced clean energy systems. The documentary was directed by Emmy Award winner M.I.B. When asked about his participation in producing Serius, M.I.B. was recently quoted as saying, "Given the possibility that there was something profound to explore here, something that could potentially open minds to new realms and new possibilities, we seized the opportunity to take on this project. For every story we told, we found hundreds of others. Our goal is to initiate our audience on the same journey, to open their minds and inspire them to search and freely consider that there is more in this world than we may ever know." Unquote. Personally, I found that Serius brought little to the table in way of new information for the more seasoned ufologists out there. A large part of the documentary was taken up by the small humanoid. A shame, considering just prior to the release of Serius it was classified as human. DNA analysis has proven the mother's lineage to be indigenous Indian from the Chilean area. The primary positive of the documentary has been the setting up of a Serius technology and research initiative based in Virginia. At the end of the Serius documentary I was left feeling slightly disappointed. However, with that said, Dr. Greer and his team have done an excellent job at collating the fragmented information that is ufology.
Roswell. Before there were flying saucers spotted over Mount Rainier, there was the Maury Island incident.
It's gone virtually unnoticed, though, for 65 years, but now it is getting new life in the form of a movie and even a celebration in Burien.
KOMO4's Matt Markovich takes us back to that UFO mystery that started a flood of sightings.
The mysteries of UFOs may never be explained, but what happened in Puget Sound in June of 1947 is getting new life. That's when Harold Dahl, salvaging logs, said he saw flying saucers. One was in trouble, dropping molten hot debris, killing his dog, burning his son. He told no one. He was then visited by a man in black, followed by a mysterious plane crash, killing the two pilots, allegedly transporting debris dropped from the troubled UFO. It's all known as the Maury Island Incident.
There are just many unanswered questions, and that makes an intriguing mystery. And maybe a solvable mystery, we don't know.
In UFO lore, it's significant. It was reported 3 days before pilot Ken Arnold's famous sighting of flying saucers over Mount Rainier, the first time the term was ever used. Followed 2 weeks later by the reported alien crash at Roswell, and then the floodgates of UFO sightings opened wide.
It's not promoted like Roswell, but I always say it's the Roswell of the Northwest.
Seattle's Northwest Museum of Legend and Lore has a collection dedicated to the incident, including a piece of the B-25 that crashed near Kelso on August 1st, the first day the Air Force came into being. It became the first fatal Air Force crash ever, killing the two pilots that were on a classified mission to find evidence and speak with Dahl.
People have written it off as a hoax, and we don't know for sure if it's a hoax, but The reality of it is that 2 people were killed, and that is definitely not a hoax.
I knew it. This is an alien, and you guys are from some government agency trying to keep it under wraps.
No.
It's also significant because it's the very first reported sighting of a so-called man in black, made famous by the movie series of agents mysteriously appearing when aliens show up.
Dahl met with the men in black at a cafe in Tacoma, and this is the first incident in modern history of men in black doing this sort of thing.
But it wasn't funny in 1947.
The movie is a comic version, but the people that met them were scared out of their minds. So.
Lights were in a rectangular shape and actually went into a triangle.
Officials with the FAA, NORAD, and the Air Force say they can't explain what created the red images. Last night's sighting brings back eerie memories of a similar event in 1997 when a mile-wide V-shaped formation of lights hovered over the city. The Air Force identified them as flares used in a training mission, but some residents now think the lights could be a sign of other life forms.
Снимки были сделаны во время прогулки по городу на мобильный телефон. По приходу домой они тут же были скопированы на более мощный носитель и увеличены в размерах. Не то, чтобы не верила своим глазам, говорит одна из очевидец Соня Кудрявцева, но просто хотелось рассмотреть объект подробнее и еще раз все же убедиться, что ничего не показалось.
Ну, когда мы ее увидели, мы обалдели. Тарелка, что она как бы была такого цвета металла.
Some people say they have seen things that make them think there is life out there. Eric Gonzalez went to find out what the objects in the sky are really all about.
If you've been around Cotulla, Texas, then you've probably heard the rumors. Many swear it's become ground zero for unidentified flying objects the past few weeks. Several videos have been posted on YouTube showing sightings in the Cotulla area. This UFO was posted this past Wednesday.
Recently, an awful lot of triangle sightings. That seems to be the big...
All right, here's a story you may find a little out there. Documents obtained under access to information suggest Ottawa has little interest in tracking or investigating UFOs.
The number of sightings is increasing across Canada, but it's up to civilian volunteers to tell us what's going on up in the sky.
Wild tales about flying saucers at Nevada's mysterious Area 51 military base are by now familiar all over the world. Those stories started right here on KLAS TV back in 1989 and have since been featured in movies, TV shows, and books. Now, 2 new books explore how the story has evolved over the past 24 years. The authors examine whether there's any truth to the claims of former government scientist Bob Lazar.
looking at the BA-330. These modules are about 20 feet diameter. These are all inflatable modules. You're looking at a propulsion bus with those tanks back there. They have hydrogen and oxygen in them that are stored from taking things like wastewater, and you actually break the hydrogen and oxygen apart, and you store it in those tanks, and that's used for propulsion. But you know, he doesn't want to just have these modules in orbit. Robert Bigelow has a vision for putting things on the surface of the moon. He actually wants to take these modules to the surface and build habitats.
Earth is the lone oceanic planet in the family of the Sun. Now, imagine a planetary system with two of them. Astronomers may have found just such a system. And the two water worlds orbiting there are among the closest analogs of Earth yet found. The star, Kepler 62, about 1,200 light years away in the constellation Lyra, is like our Sun, but smaller and cooler. So the habitable orbits, where water can be liquid, are closer in.